The Woody Show. The Woody Show.
And please welcome another new hour of insensitivity training for a politically correct world. On this Friday morning, it's February the 16th, 2024. And please welcome to the studio our good buddy, writer, director, actor, podcaster for many, many years. He was actually one of the, he came over on the Mayflower of podcasting.
That's true.
Yeah, he did. He really did. It's,
I am the Miles Standish of podcasting.
You really
I'm
are.
gonna sell myself to a TikTok generation.
Yeah.
I'm
Not
like,
so
kids,
silent,
you remember
Bob.
Miles Standish, your hero from American history?
It's Kevin Smith,
Oh,
everybody.
Good morning, folks.
What's up, Kevin?
Oh, actually, you know what? I
so
forgot to add to your
delighted.
resume. You're now radio guy,
Radio
Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
superstar.
That's true.
Yeah.
All thanks to you folks here. Menace had sent a message forward from Robin, who works up downstairs.
Downstairs.
down.
It's
Yeah.
at our sister station.
You're
A
very
news
quick
talk
to
station.
jump on that. Oh, that's downstairs.
No, they got it better now.
Hey, man, AM is downstairs. FM up here in the
Oh, no.
penthouse.
Not at all.
No.
By the way, they got the nice break room down there.
Yeah, they do.
Yep.
Oh,
So it'd be
now,
more
now
convenient.
you're pulling back a little bit.
No, because it would be more.
now it's just like, there's nothing wrong with AM.
There isn't. I'm saying, but it would be more convenient if we were on the fourth floor. It's less of a trek for us
To go get snacks.
Is
get
that
our snacks. Yeah.
Menace sent a message from Robin, who works there, that said, like, I'd been on Gary and Shannon's show, I guess last year when I was out promoting Clerks 3. And as I do on every radio show, I was like, oh my God, I would do this over my job any day. And they're like, but I'm like, no, I'm serious. And she believed me, and she went looking for me for like a year.
Yeah, she's the program director of that station.
And
Yeah.
she was like, well, do you want to fill in for them? And I was like, oh my God, yeah. Like,
Yeah. Because
and I was doing it I did it for like 2 days, and then I met the dude who runs iHeart, and he was like, why are you doing this? And I was like, because I live 6 minutes away, and I love the sound of my own voice. Like, well, why does anybody do it? He's like, I guess the money. And I was like, well, I mean, yeah, I guess there's that.
Yeah, but you've mentioned before when you've come in that, like when we were talking in the halls, that you wanted to do like a weekend show or something like that.
I would do this show,
yeah.
but every chair is taken in this room.
Yeah.
Whenever I come into this room, it seems like you cram one more person into the room. So I'm like,
we do have a lot
I
of
guess
people.
this place is the arc is full, man.
Yeah. So I'll get into the idea that we had for Kevin's visit today. But he's got a lot going on. He's of course, doing all kinds of stuff with his movie theater that he owns, New Jersey.
I do. I own the movie theater I grew up going to
Yeah.
as a kid.
Just super cool.
I bought with my friends.
Yeah,
and,
that'd be like if I bought the radio station that I
Yeah.
grew up listening to. I think that'd be kind of
how
That'd be dope.
a
look
full
as,
circle thing.
as a new radio dude. How
Yeah.
much time do we have? What's our drop?
well, we're going to do this one really quick because I want to turn over the next two segments to the new radio expert in our life, Kevin Smith.
Yes and no. If you're turning it over to me, then I'm going to turn it back to you and say you're wrong. And what we're going to do is tell the story of how we did this thing in the movie, and then play the movie thing.
Oh, okay.
Then we can F around with like, listen to Kevin be a boss jock, which is my new favorite term. When we were doing something the other day, and you'll hear about it that when we come back. What do we have to break?
Sure.
That's the thing about it. That's the only
this is the
bad
thing,
thing
right.
about radio. Like,
See,
I'm so used to
podcasts-
podcasting where it's
Yeah.
like, kids, we're on our 8th hour. But when we come back, I'll tell the story of how Woody opens my new movie.
Yeah.
And
was
it makes me
super cool.
so happy. Like, unbelievably happy.
by
I
the
drove over here at 5:30 in the morning, and I should have been bitter, but I was so happy because I kept watching that on a loop while driving.
I was
listening, I guess.
I was so touched
You crushed it.
by a text that I got from Kevin later that day after we did the thing for his movie, and he was so over the top, and I couldn't tell if this is just his
Read it.
standard
No,
because
that's-
it's the guy like every time you're on the show, we have a guest on the show, I'll hit them up and go, hey, really appreciate you stopping by, always love having you, kind of thing, and
Right.
just a thank you. But I got to, and I could tell like I'm like, wow, really cool. It's awesome. Like he was so over the top about it.
Loved it.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, because like everything in movies, it's a bunch of elements that get married together.
Right.
So we were behind a mic in the studio over there where we're mixing the movie, not far from here.
Yep.
Over at Ugo Sound.
Right down the street. That was
And-
very convenient too. Thank you.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I couldn't have made it easier,
He
man.
had snacks there for me.
Oh, nice.
It was nice.
I was like, for the long walk, here's some Fritos.
Which of course, I'm not used to any of this stuff. I don't know how any of this stuff works. I saw the snacks sitting there originally, and I'm like, just assumed those weren't for me. I'm like, oh, those are for the other people who work
See,
here.
that's the difference between like radio and movie people.
It's
Radio
so
people
true.
walk in, they're like, oh, somebody left peanuts for somebody else. And movie people are like, someone left peanuts for me.
Yeah, I
And
thought
they
someone,
instantly.
there was a bottle of water sitting on a stool. And
all of that was for you.
Right. I had no idea. I brought my own drink. I saw a bag of snacks that I'm pretty sure wasn't for me.
Yeah.
You know, it's the difference, man.
I told these cats, I was like, he's a pro. He's leaving his real radio job to come do our fake radio job.
Yeah.
So we recorded Woody, and then Woody left, and I went into the stage, and we started building the layers. And, you know, I knew I had the Z100 stinger to end with.
Yeah, because, you know, Kevin grew up in New Jersey, same way that I did. And I lived in an area. I got all the New York radio stations and all the
Same.
Philadelphia radio stations.
See, that we didn't get. We didn't get
And
like
so-
MMR and stuff like
So the two stations that I listened to, I think there was three. There was a local station in New Jersey, WPST, which I ended up working for one of my earlier jobs. That was, talk about like you buying the movie theater. That to me was one of those kind of moments.
Where are
Working
they
at that
located?
station.
Where were they?
They're in Princeton, New Jersey. But it's crazy because
Kids,
it's right.
that's the rich area.
But I'm saying it's right in the middle of New York and Philly. So like it's this little small quote small market radio station that reaches over 1 million people like every time you crack the mic because it's so highly densely populated or whatever, right? So
I don't know why. I have no idea what goes on in Princeton, New Jersey, but for some reason,
yeah, well, Princeton University.
Yeah.
That's why it's fancy. Albert Einstein, you know?
Yeah.
there it is.
Yeah.
I was,
Sarcasm.
I was playing with a joke. And
Yeah.
Woody was like, well, you know, Princeton's
Yeah.
there, right? Fact checking me like Wikipedia. How about you Jersey explain my native land?
Well, not to you, because
no, for the people
let
at
me
home.
tell you the thing about radio, yeah.
You're not talking to me. You're talking to
Exactly.
everybody. But more
I'm
than that,
looking at you, but
this,
yeah.
this is what Robin told me when I was doing KFI, just to drop that. She goes, Kevin, you're not talking to everybody. You were talking to one person in their car.
Yeah.
She was like, because you're always like, she's like, I think it's great that you're like, hey, kids. But she's like, there are no kids. It's one person you're speaking to. And when I wrapped my head around that, I was like, oh, I'm not for radio. Because I like to talk to as many people as possible.
But the other thing is, too, like every time, you'll learn the longer you're around radio, everything that the bosses, as sweet as they can be, and Robin's one of the sweetest, if they could do this job, they would do it because it pays way better.
Does it?
Than the job that they're doing. The muckety-muck people, it pays way better than the job.
That's the discussion we'll have off mic. That will be a deciding factor of how serious I am about radio. It's like, what is radio money like? Because as we all know, as the mediums go, it's like radio, TikTok,
Pretty much.
old TV in the 80s. No, the pecking order is
well, in
kind
this
of,
medium, you have the advantage that you're already famous, so they love throwing money at you
even
without
better is
even doing anything yet.
Exactly. Oh, I just have to show up. But but then beyond, you have to give a show. That's the thing. It's like what did Seth Rogen say about doing stand up? He's like, I go do stand up now, and he's like, first 8 minutes they'll laugh at anything I say because of the movies I've made. He's got, but after 8 minutes, you better start bringing something. Or
well, it's like Adam Carolla said about how to be a successful money making podcaster. There's 3 rules. Number 1 is be famous. Number 2,
helps.
Be famous. And number 3, be famous.
Helps. Yeah.
A whole lot.
Can't argue with that.
That's what it is. But so you mentioned Z100. I grew up listening to Z100 out of New York, and it was Eagle 106 in Philadelphia. And those are my 2 favorite stations, along with the WPST station. And so, getting the opportunity, because I always wanted to be on Z100. Eagle 106 is no longer around, but I always wanted to be on Z100. And even though that's one of our sister stations in the company, I've begged and begged and begged. Let me do one air shift on Z100. It could be overnight, but I just want to check that box.
So far, no.
And the guy who is in charge of all the program directors in the entire company keeps saying, well, I'm not in charge of that. Like, the heck you're not.
Yeah.
You can make that call today.
I think we can flip that script.
Yeah, how about you and I
this thing?
both
Well,
go
with
do
the opening of the movie now, because you literally are boss jock in Z100 at that
Yeah, because
point.
back in the day, like in the 80s, that's what they called it. They called it boss jocking.
Boss jocks rule.
Because the DJs always had that big kind of pukey big thing. It's the top of the hour, splitting the platters that matter, blah, 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 pumping the wattage to your cottage.
This is my new
kind of
favorite term of art.
Yeah.
I've been using it everywhere. I'm like, boss jocking.
Yeah.
I was like, in the
Boss
80s
jocking,
when
yeah.
people were like in the mic on a radio, that's boss jocking.
Now, because you had said when we were talking about what this was going to be and how you wanted it to sound and everything else.
I was like, none of that laconic nonsense.
Yeah, because I want to go back to a time where people were excited to be on the radio.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I know what you're talking about, because now it's like you have these guys who are like, Broadway Bill Lee, Real Deal Mike Neal.
Oh,
These are the guys, and now it's like, hi, It's Lisa with you.
Yeah.
Right.
Everybody's one word, generic
One
name.
name.
Yeah, it's like there's no like showmanship to it anymore. Now it's like we're talking in tweets,
This was
140 characters at a time.
You're talking about a guy with radio so deep in his blood that when I was like, I want you to do a Z100 I didn't know the term boss jock, but afterwards, now I won't stop.
1986.
But I was
you were
like,
kinda painting the picture.
like Skinny Bobby. He's like, what about Alvarez? What about the? And he started listing all the other names. And I
Yeah.
was
Like Kid Kelly.
I've come to the right man.
Oh yeah. All these guys who used to be.
When do we have to break?
Well,
Like 5 minutes ago.
10
minutes ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
all right, we're gonna take the break. We'll come back. Kevin
This is
Smith.
me literally taking over the radio. I'm like,
Yep,
we have to
thank you.
break.
It's break time.
Yeah. Wolfman Jack. There's another one.
There it
God.
is.
Yeah.
Hey man, coming out here.
Wolfman Jack. All right. Well, Kevin Smith is here.
Yeah.
And so he's got a Babylon event happening. He does Hollywood Babylon on a pretty regular
Turn his
basis.
mic on.
And that is March 9th. It's going to be at Flappers in Burbank. And tickets.
I know Flappers.
Yep, Flappers. You can
Fun
get your
venue, fun show, kids.
Love flappers.
Yeah, you can get. Is that going to be with Ralph?
It's Ralph Garman. It's us biting the hand that feeds. It's as they say in Philly, all that John.
Yeah, all that. Yeah,
John.
That's a Philly thing.
Can I just tell you? I mean, you guys you steamroll over because you're used to it and you do it all the time. But the magic of watching the news hand off to like that's brought to you by this coming in.
right.
Everything about this, like I just adore.
And see, that's how I feel. Like whenever
That's
I'm
so
on a
nice.
set for like the thing.
Do you
the other
think it
day-
is a grass is always greener on the
No, I
other
just think it's
side?
interesting because it's not your
Because
everyday
you don't
thing.
do it
Yeah.
every day.
But this, and I guess there is crossover in as much as like you've been watching movies your whole life. So
Right.
like if you're on a movie set, you're like, oh my god, I've got a working familiarity. But here, when I watch all this, I'm like, this is the soundtrack of my childhood. We didn't have like cable TV, let alone the internet. So radio was the lifeline to the rest of the world. The same way the kids today know what kids do in like Denmark or whatever because of TikTok.
Yeah.
It's like we knew what was happening at least in New York because of the radio, or if you lived in a really good place in Jersey, New York and Philly, as you
Right.
would get both broadcasts. But watching y'all do it, man, I don't want to glaze.
It's a bad example.
It's
kind of a mess.
It's sweet. But it's a coordinated mess.
It is a coordinated mess.
Yeah, no, but I guess I could see that where people. I feel like when people visit a movie set, at first they're like, "This is amazing," and then 5 minutes in, they're like, "This is boring," because you just keep
Right.
doing the same stuff over and over.
Yeah.
I think it's fascinating. I think it's really cool.
And
I
fun.
enjoyed every minute of it because I just would hang out and see how stuff worked, like you were saying.
Right.
So. Hey, so we have Kevin Smith in charge. I asked him to pick any song he wanted. First thing that popped into his mind was Paul McCartney, Band on the Run. Any particular reason why?
This is the song that, like, if somebody was like, with a gun to my head, says you could take one song with you for the rest of your life, I think I would choose this, not because it's my favorite song ever, but it's 3 songs in one. So I'd be beating the system a little bit.
Well, here it is. It's The Woody Show. Maybe looking at your radio going, what the hell's going on?
Where am I?
Is this Alt 98? It is. But Kevin Smith is here, and we were letting him pick the songs while he's here for his visit. He went with Paul McCartney, Band on the Run.
Welcome to Dad Songs 2024, kids.
Woody Show.
And so if you want to find Kevin Smith on social media, at that Kevin Smith on X. I still can't get in the habit of calling it X. I just stop and remind myself.
Oh.
It's Twitter.
I
X.
always just say
No,
Twitter.
yeah, no one.
I'm
calls it
resistant.
X. Just,
Yeah,
just say
hashtag
Twitter.
resist.
Yep.
And of course, Instagram at that Kevin Smith. All right, so Kevin, I mean, the floor is yours. You're the radio expert now. So.
Let me. I'm gonna continue telling my story. But for those who came in late, I got this movie called the 4:30 movie, which we quietly made during the summer in the midst of the strikes. We got one of those waivers, and so we shot it at my movie theater back in New Jersey, the one I grew up going to and bought with my friends. When I knew we were going to get the movie theater, I said, you know what? I'm going to write a movie for the movie theater. Number one, I got free location. You know.
Yeah.
Number two, the place looks old as hell inside. It hasn't been changed. You know, it's a 100-year-old movie theater in a 110-year-old building. I doubt they've updated the seats in at least 10, 15 years and stuff. And the seats in the main theater are the same seats I sat in when I was in high school.
Oh, wow.
So it's period. You walk in and it looks like the 70s, the 80s.
Yeah.
But really it was built in the 60s. So I was like, I'm going to write a period piece set it in 1986, and shoot it in the movie. Because I felt like if I'm in the movie theater, I'm constantly wherever I point the camera, I don't have to make it look old. It already looks old.
Right.
If you go outside, there's the danger of like, hey, there's a new car, or hey, there's somebody on a cell phone or something. Inside, you control. It's like having your own sound stage.
Yeah.
More or less. So I made this movie, and it's about these kids in high school, their first date back in 1986. It's a teenage movie. It's probably, if it gets rated, it'll be PG-13 because nobody even says the F word. Believe it or not, even though I've made a living off of the F words back. Very strong back, I might point out.
When you first were putting this together, you would ask me if I wanted to be in the movie. As an
I thought whoa! I thought this was my show, bro.
Yeah.
Back off. You're a guest here. I got to set up that story. Hold on, let me get there.
Because I did have a request. I did make the request about the F word.
Yeah, he did. He wanted to curse, but I was like, man, we can't curse. I don't want to curse in this movie. I want to try to do one where we don't curse.
Okay.
So it's a very tame movie. Since it's set in '86, we didn't curse back then. So you can get away with it and whatnot. But I have no idea.
I've been trying to tell you that, by the way.
Yes.
I have been trying to tell you that. Because they're all like, we were swearing when we were 6 years old. And I'm like, my life was not like that.
I would have been killed. I was a Catholic kid.
Yeah, when no one was
Even with
around.
my friends,
But
we weren't
even if it
cursing.
slipped out, like I remember Matthew Creedon, I was 6 years old, I was in first grade. Matthew Creedon said the F word. This is the first time I'd heard it in my life. And I went into, our teacher was Miss Beatty. She had gray hair and an old lady and stuff. I said, Miss Beatty, what does F mean? And her eyes went so wide. She said, if you say it again, I'll kick you in the shins. And I was like, Miss Beatty, what are shins? Like, I was real lost at that point. Yeah. But there was no cursing. I don't think I really started peppering my vernacular with the same obscenities I would make a living off of for 30 years until I really started hanging out with Jason Mewes. He made it.
Really?
Yeah, he made it. I was like, God, he makes it sound like music. Yeah, and it's like casual, and you felt like, oh, I feel looser. This feels right.
That is so weird, though, because I think it might have been regional because Greg and I grew up in the same area, and the C word wasn't a big deal.
But it's not a regional thing because I grew up in the same general area.
Yeah. C-word, I mean, maybe it's because I was raised Catholic.
Yeah,
I grew up in the same general area as Kevin, and we were like on the play, not with adults. It was just among other kids.
Yeah,
man,
even then didn't really kick in for us.
But when you're that young, you also don't even know what is a swear. Like I thought the word naked was a swear.
Yes. Well, when we were kids,
yeah.
Depending on how you were raised,
Right.
if you had a
Shut
faith,
up was
it
a
could
swear.
be.
Yeah, I couldn't say sucks.
Sucks
No
was,
way.
Oh, you'd get cracked across the
I couldn't
mouth.
say no to my mother. One time I said no, and my mom was like, "What?" She was like, "You gotta get up and take the cat litter out." I said, "No," and she goes, "What?" And I said, "No." And then she got so in my face. She used dad as a weapon all the time. Because my old man worked at the post office, so he was like away a lot. She was like, when he comes home,
you're dead.
It's over.
So if we cursed, forget it.
Yeah.
Man.
So the kids grow up in 1986.
So at that point, we're making a movie set in 1986, and so we've got like the movie opens with a series of what they call vanity cards, production company logos and stuff like that. I had 4 of them, including the one for Smodco. Ours had music over it. The other 3 are silent. And, it's death when you're opening a movie and it's just quiet. No music over the logo cards or anything. Mm-hmm. So it's about 25, 30 seconds of real estate of dead air, which I'm like, I got to fill because otherwise people are going to be like, what happened to the sound? And everyone's unsettled right before the movie begins. So I was like, well, the movie starts in 86, starts with the song playing on the radio, the New Shoes song, I Can't Wait.
Oh, great song.
Yeah.
I love that
Hell
song.
yeah.
One of my favorite movies in the world is Valley Girl, and that movie opens with...
Nicolas Cage.
Yes, I love this movie. It opens with, radio broadcast first on the Hollywood side, and then it drifts over to the Valley side as they cross over the hill and stuff. American Graffiti, of course, opens with radio. So I was like, this really would set the tone if I just did the tail end of a song and then did what we would later find out is called boss jocking.
Right.
Have a
Old school
DJ,
80s.
talking it up and whatnot. And then, bam, the first frame of the movie is when the song drops. So if you do it right, it's going to sound like a song ending. It's going to sound like what we just did here a few minutes ago. A song ends, or we talk, and then suddenly you go into something else, and then you come back into it and stuff. So I had spoken to Woody like a long time ago about, hey, man, come be in the movie. And then we had such a low budget and stuff, we couldn't fly people
and there
out.
was the
strike and stuff. So they were very.
There was a conflict in my schedule because when they were able to shoot it.
Woody asked for a lot of money.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I get it.
He was like, you know who I am. He pulled one of those. And I was like, I actually do.
Meanwhile, I'm afraid to touch the snacks.
Meanwhile, this water couldn't possibly be for me.
Sure, totally.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh. This is it, because I was going to do it myself at one point because I'm not in the movie at all. I was like, oh, I could be in there. And then I was like, if people pick me up, they'll pull me out. I was like, they'll pull them out of the movie. Once again, the last thing you want to do in the opening seconds of the movie is have anyone unsettled. You want to be completely relaxed as the show begins. So I was like, no, I'm going to hand it off to a pro. And I was like, and I asked Woody to be in it, but he couldn't be in it. I said, but here's the chance to be in it. So I reached out to him and I was like, hey, man, I want to do this thing. And he said, yes, came over across the street to Ugo Sound where we were mixing the movie and did it. So I just want to set it up for you, and then we'll play it. They can hear it.
We can play it? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
So there are 4 logos
it's your show,
that open the movie. My thanks. It's the Kevy Show, kids.
Yeah, that's right.
There are 4 logos that open the movie. I can't even tell what they are because we literally have announced nothing about this movie. Not the cast.
Not the name.
Well, the name.
The name's out there.
I definitely have said the name, but nothing else. The release date, and they're waiting to release all this information. But we're practically done. Like if you're in the mixing stage, you're almost finished. So we watch playback next week of the final print with the final sound, and that's it. It gets delivered. So we mixed it all together. You've got 4 logos. Imagine 4 logos like, Warner Brothers, Columbia, or Sid Ubu Sit. That's a pretty old one. Don't imagine. Just those opening vanity cards. And over that, this is what you hear. Now, before we play it, you're going to hear the tail end of a song that our composer, and this hasn't even been announced, but forget it. So Bear McCreary did our score. He did the score from our Masters of the Universe series for Revolution. He's done a million scores.
A lot of people say nice things about that.
Galactica. He's amazing. He did this score for this movie that sounds like it was made in the era the movie was made. It is
nice,
so pitch perfect. And him and his brother end the movie with a song that I swear to God, I'm going to say it here. It's going to sound stupid and crazy, but there's a good chance. Like my movie will be forgotten in the sands of time. The song that they closed the movie with is so breathtakingly wonderful. Everyone hears it. It's like an earworm. There is a chance, a very slim chance, that they could get nominated for an Academy Award for how good the song, just the song, not the movie.
Yeah.
People will be like, movie, whatever, but the song is so great. So in any event, Bear, in doing the score, like in our movie, it's about kids who go to the movies and jump around at a multiplex, pay for one movie.
Oh, Ravi does that.
And
that was my old thing.
In childhood, we all did.
Early 2000s.
Something I encourage at my theater. I own a movie theater. You pay for one movie. We got 5 screens. I don't care if you jump to the other ones. Just keep buying popcorn. So in any event, the movie's about that. Kids go to the movies and then they're going to see every other movie that day. And then so we get to show fake movies within the movie. We show fake trailers for movies that aren't coming and stuff like that.
Fun.
So this in the movie there is a movie called that the boys are going to see called Astro Blaster and the Beaverman, which is very Flash Gordon-esque.
And you're not smoking weed anymore, huh?
No.
Okay.
and it's a PG-13 as well.
Right. Sweet.
So Bear and his brother Brendan were like, you know what? We love the idea. We're going to compose a Queen-like anthem for Astro Blaster and the Beaverman. And it's legit wonderful. This isn't the thing that I think will get Academy Award nominated, although it should as well. But it was so great. We kept using it in the movie, and to give it the feel of like this song is permeating the pop culture.
Right.
So it gets referenced right at the top of this opening of the flick with this radio thing that we did with Woody. So you're going to hear the tail end of that Astro
song.
Blaster song, and then you're going to hear
the
a
DJ
very familiar.
come in.
Would you say if somebody knew you, they might be like, "Oh, that's Woody." But if
Also
somebody didn't know you, would they know your voice in this coming up?
If they didn't know me?
Yes. Like
no. Why would they? How would that be? Like if they're not familiar with the show?
Yeah. Like if someone has never heard of you, would they recognize you from this clip? No, but if somebody knew you from this show, but heard you in the movie, do you think they'd pick you?
Oh,
up?
yeah, for sure.
100%.
You guys would, because you're intimately familiar.
If they knew the show. Plus the DJ name, which is cool because it's the 80s.
Right.
You know, I'm a big Garbage Pail Kids fan. So the DJ's name is Whisperin' Woody, which was a Garbage Pail Kid.
He picked that. Woody
time,
was like, "Can I call myself this?" I was like, "In a Kevin Smith movie, you can call yourself anything you want. Be the director for all I care."
Right. All right. So we're playing this.
All right. So here it is. So 4 logos that open the movie, and then after the logos, it hands off to the first frame of the movie where the song "I Can't Wait" begins. But here's our start. This is the thing I love most in the world right now.
All right.
Here we go. 6, 5.
It's a video of us on
3,
the mixing stage.
2. Here we go.
Here we go.
McCreary with the song of the summer, Astro Blaster and the Beaver Men still playing at a theater near you. Not seeing Poltergeist 2, man. That creepy old preacher guy looks like my stepmom. Sunday morning, Whisper and Woody on Z100. Here all day. Can't do Hands Across America, but that does not mean that I can't hand you 2 tickets to see Major Murder defend his Intercontinental Championship title. Worldwide Wrestling coming to the Brendan Byrne Arena in New Jersey. The 100th caller wins.
Rocking at the speed of light, the hot rock Z100.
It goes
Nice.
Come on.
That's awesome, guys.
That is, I know, like, you guys are used to, you're like, we do that 12 times an hour. But the magic of all of that coming together and setting the tone. Because, like, as you're sitting there watching these logos, you're like, oh, wait, I'm being brought to a place. And it is very specific. But I honestly, again, I know the kids call this glazing. I'm not glazing too hard. I just like giving credit where credit's due. You were the perfect casting choice.
Oh, dude, thank you.
Nice.
That was
makes
awesome,
me
man. I loved it.
Incredibly happy to listen.
That's so cool.
It sets the tone for the entire movie. Throughout the movie making process, it's a series of, like, I think I have an idea that might work. And you combine it with other people and their talents and stuff like that. This sticks the landing of the entire movie for
Well,
me.
thank you.
Thank you.
And you know what, man? I had so much fun doing that. I love all that behind the scenes and how things come together, and that's an element of something I've never gotten to do. Well, I've the radio part, but like going to a sound,
you're like, I've never done radio.
Like going to a sound studio like that and doing something for a movie. That was really cool.
Next time we're gonna get you in front of the camera.
Nice. All right. Well, just careful what you wish for.
The Woody Show.
Getting a lot of compliments, Kevin. Kevin Smith is here.
Yep. You're getting the compliments, right?
Oh, no. People like, here's one, says, movie hopping was life. Saw so many great movies I would never had in between the ones I wanted to see.
Preach.
Says, remember getting out the paper and planning the movie day schedule.
I did that at least once a month.
That's what it says. Kevin Smith, thank you for never losing yourself throughout all these years. From Clerks to Chasing Amy, I can't wait to support this movie from you. Just a sincere thank you for still being you.
Oh, my Lord.
Even though you're a quitter from the herb. Love you, Kevin. That's from the 909. Yeah.
I got to thank you.
A lot of nice stuff.
I got to thank you.
Sweet.
/ compliment. I was sitting bumper to bumper on the 101 listening to you filling in downstairs.
On KFI.
And I heard you say, I think I might have even steered with my knees and clapped when you said it because it was so good and it's something I wholeheartedly believe in. You were talking to an up-and-coming filmmaker and talking about directing styles and mentioned Michael Bay and how he's a notorious yeller. And you said, the only time you should yell on a movie set is if you're saying, look out for that light! Yeah. And I clapped because we have witnessed yellers in a professional setting, and I think it's just not
I'm
cool.
embarrassed for that.
It is embarrassing.
It is, as the kids used to say, cringe to watch somebody.
For sure.
Especially in a medium of make-believe and fun.
That's what I loved about it, because you pointed out, we get to do this. And we're so lucky. Why are we yelling?
What are you screaming about?
It's like, that's the kind of thing, like a spoiled child ruins it for everybody by like screaming and throwing a fit or something. To watch an adult do the same thing.
Yeah.
Where it's like, come on, man, we got the ultimate scam going here. They're paying us to make pretend, to do something we do anyway. And you're going to yell?
Right.
Like, I've never, and again, Bay is the reference. I've never been on a Michael Bay set, so I don't know if
we have
screamed,
audio.
But really? Is that right?
Somewhere, maybe.
Yeah.
I know I've heard that. There's a reason Michael Bay comes to mind because somebody, whatever. I don't want people to be like, oh, he said Bay's is a screamer. I heard he's a screamer. But regardless, whether it's him, I'm just saying anybody. There ain't no reason to be yelling at somebody when you're doing stuff like this. In the radio, there'd be no reason to yell unless it was like the building's collapsing, run, grab a mic and run.
Or people who are known in any way, like any level of celebrity, to get upset about somebody taking their picture.
Right.
You know,
that too is, look, every time, people are generally sweet, I've found, when they like, hey man, can I take a picture? And generally I jump and make it easier for them where they're like, I'm a huge fan. I was like, great, you want to take a picture? And they're like, oh, yes. You know? So for me, that, they're always like, I'm sorry. I'm like, don't be. This means the plan is working.
Right.
Like, I always dreamed that people would care enough about me to stop me and ask to take a picture. So you do this, then I'm validated by, like, I knew I was right.
Yeah.
Like, I knew I could make a living just being me.
That's so awesome.
And you've
I
always
appreciate
been,
that. Thank you.
and you've always been so kind too. Like the first time I met Kevin was at Century City BMW.
That's right.
I walked in there because I was looking at cars and whatever, and I walked in and I look over to my right, and there's effing Jay and Silent Bob. He was there with Kevin Muse. They're both
Jason's
standing
Muse,
there.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, this is 2014. I just moved to LA like a couple months ago. I'm like, this is what LA's like, huh? And I walked over and I just wanted to say hi because I'm a fan and everything else. And you guys were super nice. And, hey, man, whenever there's the need, just hit me up. Didn't have your number or whatever. And then, man, always so kind. But thank you. Kevin Smith is here, everybody. What? You want? I can tell you want to say something.
Technically, we got enough time because they haven't lyrically jumped into it.
No, they
yet.
haven't. Yeah. This is DJ
So we're
stuff,
we haven't hit the post yet, as they say.
No, but you're coming up on it really quick.
Let me try to hit the post on this one.
All right, let's go.
6:52 kids, 9:52 elsewhere.
Kinda.
I forgot to.
That's all right. LA's #1 hit music station, Kiss FM. Hey, Whispering Woody with you on a Friday morning, coming at you. Traffic and weather together every 15 minutes. And we got your next chance to win those Bieber tickets coming up here on Kiss FM.
Join fun. The Woody Show is back.
See? DJing, man.
That's boss jocking right there.
Do you think you will end up doing? Do you really truly want to do more in radio?
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I mean, just for fun, I think you just kind of do it, but like not as a regular, like the word's job.
I'm not lying. I'm not making this up. A little over a year ago this time, I was in the. They tell me not to say this, but I was in the nut house. I was in a different place.
Yeah,
much better place a year later. But prior to that, like I remember calling my agent one morning and being like, "Hey man, I'm up every morning. Can you get me like a local radio gig here in LA? Like, I think I've done enough stuff where somebody might be like, yeah, we can sell an ad off of his voice or something like that." And my agent was like, serious? And I was like, yeah. He's like, why local? And I was like, because then I could also like sell tickets to Babylon and stuff.
Yeah, you can do your thing.
Do my thing. And I said, plus it's like a short drive. And also I like when we were doing Babylon at the Improv for years and years, I loved being a part of the Los Angeles. Like, I'm not from here. I'm from Jersey. But every Friday or Saturday night, we were doing a show, and it felt like we were, like, part of the city. And you know how hard it is to, like, fill seats in the city, man, in Los Angeles, because there's a lot of options. So the idea of being on the radio and being able to, like, say whatever I want, and then also, like, be like, hey, man, and also I'm going to be, with Ralph at Flappers and go see Hollywood Battle. You're killing two birds with one stone. Or as my, kid taught me to say as a vegan, you're feeding two birds with one seed. So I could see myself doing radio, man. Yeah. Like they don't even. I honestly, they don't have to make me rich. They just have to make it easy.
Well, don't worry about that.
Done deal.
Well, Kevin Smith, man, thank you again for the opportunity. Thank you for coming in and hanging with us. And
such a pleasure.
Yeah, a lot going on. You can follow all things Kevin Smith on his Twitter and Instagram at @ThatKevinSmith. And we got some more Woody Show for you next. Hang on.
The Woody Show will be right back.